that raped you the other 2 times? You're sure? He knocks you down and your lips bleeding and you holding some paper towels over your lip right now? Said, yeah. Well, I'll send uniform patrol out there to get a statement and if necessary, bring you down here. So he turned around to me, you and your client can go home. That's the same woman that was accusing him of raping her twice. He says he just got through raping her for 30 minutes and ran out the building less than 5 minutes ago. And that's 17 miles from where we are right now. Unless he got an S on his chest and a rolled up cape, he couldn't have done it. So,
Wow.
You're free to go.
Wow.
Or how about a trial in my courtroom? This guy was accused of committing this rape. He didn't have a good lawyer. He had one of these that advertised a lot, the wrong kind that advertised. And the lawyer in question had a huge number of clients, but he never tried a case. Hell, he hadn't even argued a motion. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. So he was trying to get this client to plead guilty. The guy refused. I heard him, and I wouldn't let him plead him out. So we go to trial. So fortunately for this guy, his brother had called up somebody that had been in his outfit. So at the time of the alleged rape, he was in a M60 tank turret in the Fulda Gap in West Germany. Had not had any leave, had not been to the States for 4 months preceding the alleged rape, and didn't get back to the States until 3 months later. And he was a tank commander. He was a sergeant. So they proved he was in a tank turret at the time the rape occurred. So obviously he couldn't have done it. But this incompetent lawyer wanted him to cop out to simple rape instead of aggravated rape. And it was an innocent man. So fortunately, this showed up when we were at trial. The state was objecting because the witness wasn't on the defense witness list. And the idiot that was representing this guy hadn't even been aware of him. And the guy just happened to show up, found out what it was. And fortunately, his company commander was in States. He called him. The guy got on a military plane, flew in and brought the records and proved that the guy was in Germany. You get stuff like that. Yeah, there's some innocent people.
Wow. That's crazy.
Then you get some funny things happen. They had this horrible write-up on this cold-blooded murderer and everything, and the paper was saying he ought to get the death penalty, and the family was all blood in their eye, demanding that he be drawn and quartered. And what had happened is baby boy had gotten gunned down by a 12 gauge by the defendant. But it developed that what provoked this was these fools had burglarized the defendant 3 times. And he was working 2 jobs to make up for all of the lost money, time off the job, and stolen property. And he testified he came home from work at 5 a.m. in the morning, and he had to rush to the toilet because he had to do number 2. And when he snatched open the door, there was no toilet, just a hole in the ground.
Wow.
And he ran out the back, and the fool that got ultimately shot and 2 other people were laughing at him with his toilet on a flatbed truck and his 3 paintings of matadors fighting bulls on black velvet. And they laughed at him. So he got the guy down the next day. So the jury is out. The family is expecting the jury to crucify this guy, but they've got a question. So I bring in the defense, have him brought up from lockup. The prosecution comes up. The press is in there with their pens or pencils, ready to take notes. Your Honor, the jury has a question. Yes, Mr. Williams, the court is so advised that you instruct the jury foreman, sir, on behalf of the court, to prepare the question in writing. Yes, sir, I did. Mr. Thompson, I believe you are the foreman of the jury. Is that correct, sir? Yes, sir, I am. Have you reduced this question to writing? Yes, sir. Mr. Williams, would you please pass that question up to the court? The court will now publish it after first polling the jury. Mr. Thompson, is this your question, sir? Yes, sir, it is. Did you write it up as a foreman, sir? Yes, I did. Mr. Osgood, is this your question, sir? Ms. Wilson, your question? Ms. Swartz, your question? Ms. Thompson, again, is this your question? So on and so forth, so forth. All right. The court will now publish the question of the jury. Your Honor, if the jury feels that the victim deserved killing, do we have to convict the defendant? Well, you could see the family that was expecting some blood to be spilled. They just sort of, their faces just fell. The press was going, what? And the jury has said they thought the victim deserved killing. So my response was, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court has delivered the charges of law and your duty and your responsibility and a procedure to you. They are contained in writing in jacket so and so and so and so, which is in your possession. The court hereby directs you to review those charges and continue your deliberations, returning such verdict as truth and justice dictate. You may retire to continue to deliberate.
Wow. So the family of the victim felt that the victim deserved to be shot.
No, the jury felt the victim deserved killing.
Wow.
Your
Wow.
Honor, in other words, the question was, Your Honor, do we have to convict the defendant if we think the victim deserved to be killed?
Wow.
Another murder case. It involved Chief Petty Officer in the United States Navy killing a Marine gunnery sergeant. They didn't want it to hit the press. The military asked that it not go that way, so I agreed to try it to the bench. The father of the victim was in there listening to the whole thing, strangely quiet. I wondered what he was going to do. So when I found the defendant not guilty, he got up and started walking over to him, and I was getting ready to motion one of my three bailiffs to intervene, but the guy stuck his hand out, said, may I shake your hand, sir? And the guy said, well, sure. He said, I told my damn fool son somebody was going to kill him one of these days, and you just did what you had to do. And he had it coming to him, no hard feelings.
Wow. The father. God.
So, you know, stuff happens. Oh, we get the funny side. We had one of these idiots who had no business practicing law. She was female. And it got so bad that the jury was snickering. I was doing my damnedest to not laugh out loud. And I had this dilemma. It was a really serious dilemma. If I took in a breath, I was going to bust out laughing. And if I didn't breathe, I was going to pass out. So I decided that I had to get relief. So I was going to write in a yellow pad, recess. Well, since things were dimming, I couldn't remember how to spell recess. So I said, we'll take a break. And I held up the yellow pad. The jury busted out laughing and ran out the courtroom back to the jury room. And I just busted out laughing. You know, I'm a diver. Been diving for 55 years. I'm a certified master diver, so I hold my breath a long time. But I swear it was ridiculous. Same woman got in there, and the story, it's another rape case. The victim claimed that she did not know the rapist. They were complete strangers, but they raped her continuously for 9 hours, and they had tape and mask over her face, but she saw between the cracks these two so she could positively identify them. Well, one defense lawyer was pretty sharp. The other one, the woman, was a dingbat. So on behalf of the client she did not represent, this Army major shows up with a chest full of medals, his green beret on, and spit shine jump boots. He testified that one defendant was his brother and the victim was his next door neighbor, and everybody had grown up together. And in fact, she was born in the house and she used to hang around at the house, and his brother used to hang with her. He was a bit older than the brother and her, and everybody knew each other. And as far as he knew, the alleged victim had been over to his family house 2 days before the trial.
Wow.
So what the deal was the drug deal went bad. So anyway, he's testified to this. It's a bombshell. It just blew the state's case away. Well, idiot decides she wants to cross-examine this guy. So she's just really messing this thing up. It was so bad. A black woman on the jury that stood up. Honey, just shut up and sit down. We don't want to know. Just be quiet while you're ahead. I said, ma'am, please. It is inappropriate for the jury to be giving instructions to counsel. The court understands your sentiments. Ms. So-and-so, do you wish to reconsider whether or not you would continue to cross-examine? She said, yeah, Honor, we aren't even through. And her client stood up, would you shut up, please?
Wow. The
So anyway,
client.
this is really getting bad. So during final argument, she's strutting around talking about how much the state had lied about their case. And the prosecutor was shaking his head. He's a federal judge now, so he went far. He's a black guy. And she spread out the sheets and all of the bindings and everything that was supposed to be involved in the offense. And she strutted around talking about it was a miscarriage of justice to have her client charged. Well, yeah, okay. So she walks up to where my clerk is sitting next to me. And the clerk is sitting on a continuation of the structure that raises up to where I am on this raised platform, right? And there's a desk,
Okay.
a long desk where 4 clerks can sit. Well, this idiot climbs up on a chair on top of the desk. My clerk is looking at me like, what the hell? So I said, let her go. It might be interesting. So she's standing up there. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the state wants my client to take a dive on this case. And she executes this perfect swan dive off of this high platform that is the clerk's desk, and she lands flat on her face. Boom! Ugh. Ma'am, are you all right? Counselor, can you hear the court? Mr. Duckett, would you please check and see if counselor is okay? She's kind of out, Your Honor. She's unconscious. I think she knocked herself out, Judge. The jury is snickering. Please call 911 and we will recess until 10 a.m. tomorrow on this. Court stands adjourned, sign or die. So they said, all right, yes. So all rise. This court stands adjourned until 10 a.m. on this trial, sign or die. It means until further, notice. So it's like this fool knocked her dumb self out.
Wow. You
It can be
witness this
amusing.
stuff on a regular.
Tell you one of the funniest things I saw. I was a lawyer. There are 12 jurors in the box, 2 alternates. It's in this old courthouse. The judge is on the bench. The prosecution is trying to examine this witness. There are 3 defense attorneys and 4 prosecutors, and nobody but one person in that whole courtroom is paying any attention to the testimony. There's a fat old white chick with a granny dress on and an elastic bodice that isn't really doing a good job of containing her bodice, let's say, her boobs, right? Why is nobody paying attention? Well, there is this thing scrolling around on the ceiling that escaped from Jurassic Park, this huge prehistoric Cretaceous water bug, and it loses its grip right over this woman and drops down in her bodice.
No.
This chick takes off like Apollo 13 with this gurgling screech over the railing in front of the jury box, lands on the ground and does a 360-degree turn like something out of the Three Stooges, screeching bloody murder. She faints and the roach runs out. By now, four cops have come in with their guns drawn who were in the hallways. When this monster bug runs out, they start drawing down on the bug and they jump up on chairs and everybody's standing on chairs. The
Wow.
people in the audience are standing up in the pews out in the viewing section. And the jurors are trying to run. So they bring in the paramedics and they take this big old heavy woman, put her on the gurney, and her arm keeps dropping off. And to look at this scene where they've got two cops with drawn guns on guard in case this thing comes back.
Oh my God. Was the bug that big, really?
It was huge. I've never seen anything like it. And to this day, they've turned it over to the Election Commission and the DMV. It's no longer a courthouse, but in the evening, if it's in the summer, you can walk by there and there's just a carpet of roaches running up and down the sidewalk.
Wow.
Nobody likes to walk on that side of the street.
Wow.
But there's life. So that's just an exposition on what's going on in the criminal justice system. Now, on the serious side, it's no longer about crime. What it is the United States is alone in the industrialized world and not having any plan to take workers who've been made obsolete by industrial technology and computerization and make them relevant again so they can earn a decent wage. So what it has done is instead of improving that situation, it is sought to restrict the labor market. So if you think of labor as a commodity like wheat, corn, or cotton, what you do when you have a commodity glut, one, you cut back production, two, subsidize the producer, and three, store the surplus. In reverse order, we store the surplus in a jail cell instead of a grain silo. The subsidy is the welfare check, public assistance, and cutting back a production is a bad one. That's when the kids drop out, tune out, bang out, drug out, get knocked up too early, too often, develop inappropriate outlooks, worldviews, way of carrying themselves. They don't have an adequate education. They have no vocational skills. They're essentially unemployable. They get into trouble. They make their communities chaotic. They quickly wind up in jail. That means they've got a felony, and that means it's even harder for them to get out and get a good job later on or get a job. And meanwhile, they cause chaos in their communities, so that impacted neighborhood cannot be politically viable. It can't engage in cohesive collective self-help, and everything goes to hell.
So, Judge, what is the solution?
What's what? The solution?
What is the solution?
Worked over a 10-year period. I tried it. Man up. So the guy in the mirror every morning says to you, did you do what you were supposed to do as a man yesterday? Are you going to do what you did today? You're going to do better? And you see, it gets around a lot of things. That is a primary cause, manhood. And you don't have to have all these other political causes, spiritual causes. It's just manhood. But you see, they take that away, and youthful males do not work well if they don't have a cause. So you hear it so much. Yo, man, Judge, with due respect, man, I ain't got no daylight at the end of my tunnel. I'm 19. I ain't gonna live to be 24, man. I don't give a damn. Say, well, young brother, that makes it good. You have even a more enviable situation because you've got nothing to lose. That means you can be a hero and find out who you're supposed to be responsible for, and literally, if not figuratively, take them down that tunnel so you can get through the smoke and the flames and kill off the fire-breathing Gila monsters that are burning everything up and creating the smoke. So even if you don't get to the end of the tunnel, at least you can be a hero in getting the people you're responsible for closer to the end of that tunnel. See, when you start getting responsibilities, like I said before, making where you are a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity, sense of purpose, morality, and ethics, and you impose peace where you live and in your household, and you set up a household, then you have a purpose. And you'll run into me 25, 30 years later and thank me because I turned you around and say what I hear all the time here in Memphis. Judge, you remember me? No, man, I don't. Well, you gave me some time. Did I give you enough? Oh, yeah, see, that wasn't it. It was this man thing. You kept working with all of us. You'd come to the jail and have us in assemblies, all of us that you'd put in jail, and you talked to us about man up and all that, being man. It's like it dawned on us. It's like, yeah, wow, I want to do this man thing. I had no idea. And see, I haven't been in trouble since you let me out of jail. And now I got 4 grandchildren. And all 3 of my kids went to college. I got a good job. I keep food on the table. I got a good woman, not some little floozy that I used to fool around with. The money stays because it's not illegal. And I've got a purpose for it, which is just my enjoyment. And like you promised me, once you become a man, doing the right thing is the greatest pleasure you can have. I did not understand that.
Wow. So do you have a series set up or gonna put one out called This Man Thing? Because I think that what you're saying right now.
See, it's nothing mysterious.
It's not, but it's not taught.
It's nothing mysterious. If you get any man that went through a draft army boot camp, he got it. If you go back 2,000 years to the Roman legions, they got it. If you went back to Napoleon's army, they got it. Baron Steuben.
Well, we were in
Washington's army. Every man that's been through something where you have severe tests that become rites of passage, that are dangerous tests, where something can happen to you, like killing your lion at 13 with a spear, all by yourself, or you could die in a boot camp by an accident. It happens. You become part of something. That's why they had these boot camps for inmates that didn't do crap, because they still come out convict. They don't belong to anything. It's just stronger convict. But if you come out of this experience where that's a rite of passage, where you become a sailor, flyboy, airman, sailor, Marine, jarhead, whatever it is, you belong to something. It used to be when you survived the rite of passage, you became a man of the tribe, of the clan, of the village, of your culture. We don't have that now. And such things that they try to put up as rites of passage, they aren't, because they're safe. See, a man is about his nature. He's a hunter. He puts himself in harm's way to feed things that help him hunt. He puts himself in harm's way to feed himself. He puts himself in harm's way to feed his family. He puts himself in harm's way to feed those people he is accountable to. And he has to have his homies back him up and watch his six, so something doesn't kill him while he's trying to help feed everybody. That's what it's all about.
Overstand.
And what they've been trying to do, quite frankly, is feminize the whole damn country. And starting 50 years ago, they had brothers who used to ideate on, hey, if I'm going to be into being what I'm supposed to be, I have to go to college. If I'm going to be all this and that, I have to be able to dress clean so I can put on my urban camouflage. If I'm going to be all this and that, I got to get my game together so I can maneuver and manipulate in the world. But you see, what happened is over a 50-year period, Hollywood and the entertainment industry got us focused on basketball, baseball, football, the housewives, and we glorified dysfunction. Pimps used to be the lowest of the low, and in the penitentiaries, everybody would butt fuck them or have them suck their dicks, except the pedophiles who sucked the pimps' dicks. They were next to the bottom. Now it's all about pimping, man. How many hoes you got, man? See, that is not cool at all. That is unmanly. A pimp is the lowest slime on the planet outside of pedophiles. My opinion.
But they've made it in today's pop culture that it's one of the most popular things to be. So it's
Yeah, I know, because see, that's dysfunction. You have people who drove this engine, who got in charge of entertainment, got in charge of the media, who don't like men. They either don't like being a man, or they don't dealing with men because they like dealing with women, and they are women. See, that's what's gone on. 50 years of glorification of dysfunction. There's something bad in that.
Wow.
We don't get it, and we ideate. See, it's how we think of things. Like if I put something to somebody on my generation, it say, "Man, that's some messed up stuff there." See, if I put it to somebody here, they say, "Well, you're just talking. That's toxic masculinity." Where did you come up with that? Because you're supposed to make sacrifices. Well, see, women need to be in charge. Hey, haven't you grown up and left your mama yet? Well, yeah. Well, then what are you talking about? Some woman should be in charge. Only woman should be in charge of you is your mama when you were living at home. You're supposed to grow up and get the hell out of the nest. To give you an illustration of that, do you know right now on everybody's statistical charts, there are more boy virgins 25 and under than there are girl virgins? There are more boys 30 years of age living at home with a parent than there are girls 30 years of age. Something's happened here.
Wow.
You've had 50 years of take your daughter to work week, but no take your son to work week.
Right.
See where that goes? Look at the ideation, softer, kinder, gentler. The men need to be able to cry and all of this stuff. Well, but you don't glorify it. And you see, 50 years ago, the mantra, 60 plus thousand students at UCLA. They had these areas where you could address assemblies. You just reserve the area. They give you a microphone. You can hear it a long way away. It's 5 miles across campus. And you'd hear people, sisters, we must reform men because men are the source of war. So to stop war, we need to change the way boys are raised to men. We must teach the boys to emote, to cry, to shout, to let it all hang out instead of being so uptight and under self-control. Because when they hold it in, tensions will build up and they will cause war. Oh, hell, fool. So you got unisex child rearing, no war toys, no water pistols, no cap guns, no cowboys and Indians, no good guys, bad guys, cops and robbers, no soldier play. It all had to be about girls, dolls and toys, playhouse. And they started making Ken so the boys could play with Ken while the girls played with Barbie. Then the boys got to play with Barbie. And the boys started wearing little long curls and ringlets like their girls and everything else. And you start running into young women that used to be the younger sister of the mama, the youngest aunt. She's 13, 14, proudly being aunt, putting shush in the baby stroller. Now it turns out she's the mama at 13 or 14. And she's got her son's hair all braided up and everything and dressed up like, oh, what a sweet little girl. It's not a girl, it's the boy. Oh, damn, make it look like a boy. What's wrong with you? That's sexist. Yeah, I'm sorry, but it is. I'm your insurance policy. And you know what the insurance policy is and why men used to get deference?
Why?
2:17 a.m. in the morning. Young lady has her master's degree. She's been sipping on a bedtime glass of Chablis, reading a nice novel. And she's smug because she's got everything ready to ace this presentation at 8 a.m. in the morning. So she turns out the light with a smile on her face. 2:38, she wakes up with a start because she's just dozed off when she hears glass breaking down on the second floor. Now, does she want to have to go down and deal with it herself, or does she want a man that can take care of business to be laying next to her in the bed who'll go down and take care of it? Insurance policy. Exactly. Women and children in the lifeboat first. But I guess they got these drag queens now that have their dresses on would start screaming and shrieking to be let in lifeboats with the women. No, you take them, throw them to the sharks. Feed the sharks on the other side of the sinking ship and draw them away from the passengers. But you see, men are expendable. Women and children are a resource. So men should give guidance and be wise enough to give the guidance, learn what you need to give the guidance, and women should give advisement. So if a woman knows how to give an advisory and is not too big a fool to deliver one, then the guy is a fool if he doesn't listen. He doesn't have to accept it, but he should listen. And if he's going to be in charge, it's just like they tell you in the military. You're not fit to give orders if you don't know how to take them. So he needs to have practiced taking orders until he finds out what it's all about to lead and giving orders. And then he delivers the order as a request to the woman so she doesn't get all riled up and hostile.
Wow. Great point. Great point. Judge, I want to know. You have
a problem here with what myself and a couple of lady psychologists, and one of them a psychiatrist, came up with a term. We call it developmental bipolarity in today's young women. What that is this. Throughout all of human history, prehistory, men and women have been hardwired to appreciate certain things. So these things have always made women feel good. So now you've got a culture that tells them that those things are demeaning, so they reject feeling good for traditional reasons. So they substitute this laundry list of things that lesbians have told them are things that women ought to feel. So even if they get those things, it does nothing for them because they're not lesbians and it doesn't motivate them. It doesn't impress them. It doesn't give them joy. So they're caught between being disappointed by getting what they thought they wanted, and then when they get what they really felt good about, they feel bad because it makes them feel like something's wrong with them.
Right.
Developmental bipolarity, so they bounce from being dissatisfied for opposite types of reasons, and they just feel really weirded out because they've been listening to people that aren't in this game. See, you can't call them a bad name because that's a hate crime. You can call us niggers, you can call Jews kikes and Jews, and you can call Mexicans wetbacks and all of this. You can call up dirty engines and everything else. You can insult everybody but your real enemy, and if you call him a faggot, then everybody's, oh my God, we can't put that out. Well, don't call him that, but on their own site, they say they're queer. LGBTQ stands for questioning and queer. You go to the BLM site, or at least you used to up until last month, before they removed it. Next to last thing, third to last thing said they are a queer affirming organization. So
I read it myself, so you're absolutely
in England, they say they're queering stuff up. So I look at it this way. I call myself normal. You can't do that. We claim to be normal. I'm sorry. I claim to be normal. So you want to jack somebody because, hey, I'm normal. But you can claim to be normal, but I can't. You can't go that far. So I put it this way. I'll take your own term and I'll say I'm normal and you're a queer. You know, the norms versus the queer. By the way, that's what that election was about we just had.
Understood.
Or election of electors. It was norms against queer. Are we going to have man up moments, or are or we're going to queer everything up so men don't have to act like men and women can be in charge. I'm too old for that. I've never had a woman leader, and I will not now. Because basically it's about this. Go to a zoo, go to the primate house, watch the baboons and the chimpanzees, and you will see human politics. What you will see actually is primate politics and realize that humans are primates. You see the alpha male, and he's got politics going with his supporters, his homies, so to speak. And the interesting thing is they fight for this. But when they win and they become the alpha male, there's a caveat to it. The alpha male stands between the leopard and the rest of the pack. The alpha male is the first one in the pack to face danger. So if you're going to be the alpha male, you just can't say, you guys go over there and fight that leopard. You have to say, follow me.
Right, correctly.
And I'm not following any woman into combat or into a hot situation. Well, half the time they get emotional and their mouth inflates what's going on until hell breaks loose when some diplomacy could have diffused everything. So, I'm old school. Not saying women can't be doctors, lawyers, engine chiefs, and all that other stuff. Well, not that, because you never hear of a female Indian chief, a Native American chief, but I've got several female doctors, and ophthalmologists, lawyers, and dentists, and all kinds of things. Fine, I'd rather them be touching me than some dude. Somebody's going to say cough. I'd rather be a pretty woman who's a doctor. That's cool. One the guy doing it, that's a little leaves me with a bad taste. So, no hard feelings on that. It's just I've been follow me, still do sometimes, but I have become an elder, and sometimes if the elder has proven himself, then you want what the elder is thinking more so than what he can do physically. Because anybody can do that physical, but you have to go through that, survive it, so you learn what it all means.
Wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom.
Absolutely.
Learning and experienced and wise in life, hopefully.
So I want to know what is up next for Judge Joe Brown. I know you retired. I know you're doing some things right now. Just you're on the.
Yeah, well, I'm doing more work now than I have been in a long time. I'm blackballed by Hollywood. They don't like what I say, and they try to block it at every chance. Like Twitter will not give me a blue check. You can find me at Judge Joe Brown TV, at Judge Joe Brown TV, but they won't give me a blue check, and they try to shadow block me. I keep count. I got a little device going on. Like this week, I picked up 2,600 some followers and dropped 17 dropped, but interestingly enough, Twitter only gave me credit for like 37 or 38. It's interesting. I seem to get around, and talking about pressure, I get these residuals from reruns of my show, which are on Bounce TV. Bounce TV was founded by by Martin Luther King III and Ambassador Andrew Young. They founded it along with two other brothers, so it's a black outfit. They carry me, but I get a threatening letter from CBS saying that if I don't stop saying what I say on these podcasts or tweeting what I tweet, then they're going to make sure that I have difficulties with my residuals. I just said, go to hell. We've been there before.
Wow, they threatening your money.
Yeah, they always do. I always told them go to hell.
Wow. Funny how control is.
For 15 years, I got constantly bombarded with, why don't you do this PSA, public service announcement. No, I'm not going to do a PSA saying we need to stop saying it's so gay. No, that's their problem. I don't follow that political party. That's their business. They have a right to do what they want to do in their bedrooms. If they get in front of me, I'll be scrupulously fair, but I'm not going to advocate for them because I think they have programs that are bad for children. They're bad for the family, and they're trying to destroy manhood. And I'll be damned if I'll be big enough fool to participate in something that leads to my own diminution or my homeboys.
Overstood. Judge, I'm going to tell you, I love speaking with you because you're so candid. You always on point. You raw as could be. And you tell it how you see it. And I appreciate that for that. So I want to thank you for giving us a chance on Sway Soul Show to give us a chance to bring our audience to you. And appreciate you having you on the show today.
Yeah, and just as a word up, read. COVID-19's got you in-house. Don't watch TV. That's some poison. It's lies.
There you heard it.
Read.
Pick up a book and read.
Yeah, well, let me give you a lie. Trayvon Martin, right?
Yes, sir.
Remember CNN and Anderson Cooper and him berating Castle Doctrine and Stand Your Ground and all that stuff?
Yes, sir.
And the illusion that you got all through the media was this kid was wearing a hoodie. Was he a thug or was he a good kid?
I remember.
Okay. Castle Doctrine didn't apply. That's only inside of a house or residential property. Stand your ground. You know who had the right to stand his ground? It wasn't Zimmerman. It was Trayvon. He got attacked. Not a word about that. This is from Trayvon's mother. I interviewed her 3 times, and when she told me this, I was sitting next to her. She wanted to ask me a question. The question was, why did Anderson Cooper ask that she not reveal what she was going to tell me? I thought it was something bad. You know what it was?
What?
Trayvon wanted to be a cop, a detective. You know why? His grandfather was a lieutenant detective on the Miami Police Department when Trayvon was killed. His daddy was one too, and the dad was visiting a female cop. And see how that would have altered the ratings perspective. Instead of, is this a hoodie gunned down by law and order Jewish guy, Zimmerman, who was trying to protect his home? Or was this a kid who wanted to be a cop, a good kid who was with his daddy, a cop, visiting another cop, and granddad's one too?
Wow.
See, that wouldn't have played the same way. Low down, scurvy scumbags tried to sit there and exploit that situation. I was in a bar. I was still living out in California. I had a house in a place called Ojai. It's rural. At a ranch, matter of fact. Raised horses. And I'm sitting in this pub when they come up with the verdict. I said, where's Zimmerman? I said, that's him. No, it's not. That's some Latin-looking guy. Where's the Jew guy? I said, that's him. That's not Zimmerman. And when they said, George Zimmerman? And they said, yes, sir. Said, that's Zimmerman? I said, yeah. God damn, I thought it was the Jew guy. You mean that's a Latin? I said, yeah, it is. Damn. Why didn't nobody tell me this? Oh, hell, this is just some gangbanging shit, ain't it? You got somebody who was playing OG for a Cuban gang. He's 26 years old.
Wow.
See how that would play out?
I do. Media's controlling the narrative on everything we're dealing with. So I do get it.
So but just remember, don't spend your time watching this bull on television. If you want to watch something, watch the Military History Channel, the Science Channel, watch American History Channel, watch the Smithsonian Channel, you can watch BBC. By the way, you might do well watching the Science Channel for a very interesting reason. Half the moderators they have on there are young black folk that are PhDs. They've got one, Lucy, who is with NASA. He is an astrophysicist. They've got another couple of fine sisters in there that are physicists or chemists or professors. And they talk like ordinary black folk. But you see, we don't see ourselves like that. We always look at ourselves as on a basketball court. You look at Neil deGrasse Tyson, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Okay, fine, but that's a little different.
Right.
And he's always got on shirt and tie, cool.
Right.
But then you see the rest of the black crew that's on there. They just look like ordinary school kids, except they're a little older, and they're rocket scientists, physicists, nuclear physicists, and they're running the narrative. And you find out for NASA, this young brother is running the astrophysics department. Professor.
Wow.
See, and he talks to brothers. Like he comes across, yeah, man, like, the gravity is extreme, man. Most of us wouldn't be able to move, but, like me, maybe, we could do it, we so bad, we can still jump. He comes across, you think he's ordinary, some brother you ran into at a pub. Bar.
But instead, black
We
geniuses.
don't go that way. So make your mind like that so you understand how the real modern world works. Because if you want to manipulate something and know what you're doing about, so you can get someplace, study, read. It becomes a habit where you can't put a book down.
And that's for real, Judge. Man, we appreciate these words of wisdom.
Laid more often. Some of these dudes that can't get a piece of behind, the ladies ain't giving it up to them. It's a better game than trying to come up and run back. Hey, mama, let me tell you something, man. Like my baby, like you heard me from a block away, because you read my mind, mama. You hear what I'm saying to you? I'm broadcasting, on 5G, You
Right.
picking it up.
Wow.
Same game. That doesn't work.
Read a book. Key facet. Understood. Judge, we appreciate you, man, and look forward to you again, having you back in the future.
Thank you very much, young brother, for having me on. Power to the people. Keep on pushing. Stay strong.
Y'all heard it right here with Judge Joe Brown on Suede Soul Radio and the Suede Soul Show.
There you go.
Sweet.